Hey guys, today I'm going to be talking about how I assembled the I-129F packet to send for the K-1 visa. I know that it's a really long process, it's confusing, it's difficult, but I'm here to help and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Let's get started. Okay, so first is the two passport style photos of the US petitioner and the foreign fiance, which I just showed our photos here. They should be 2x2 and taken within 30 days of filing. I just put ours in a little plastic bag and attached it to our packet with a paper clip. Next is the cover letter, and this is super important. It shows clearly what is attached in the petition overall. It's also just a great tool to help keep you guys organized while you're doing this petition, making sure that you have everything that you say you do on the cover letter. And lastly, I'll show you an example of my cover letter here if you guys want to use that as a template for yours. And just make sure that you date and sign it. Next thing I included with our I-129F packet was this form, the G1450 form for credit card transactions. I don't usually use checks, so this was super helpful because credit cards are where it's at. You just have to fill out your credit card info here and send it with your packet. It should be one of the first things in the packet because it's one of the first things that they're going to want to see when they get the packet, and they will charge your credit card pretty soon after receiving this packet. The filing fee for this form is $535, and you can find that on the USCIS website. If you're not sure how much the I-129F is going to cost to file, you can check on USCIS website using the fee calculator, which I'm showing here. It's super useful and it will help make sure that you're filing the correct amount when you send the petition. Next thing that we included was this form, the G1145 e-notification of acceptance. This is totally an optional form. You don't have to include this form if you don't want to. We did. You just have to put your email and then they can basically notify you through email if you want. Alright, so I wanted to talk a little bit about the I-129 form itself. I know that it's really long and confusing. It's probably the most important thing that you want to include in this packet. You want to make sure that you sign it and you date it before you send it. Just make sure those two things are done. If you forget everything else, just that. And next I wanted to talk a little bit about question 54 in the I-129F packet. In the I-129F form itself, they give you the smallest little space to write how you met your fiance, explaining your story. And honestly, like 4 or 5 lines to explain that is not enough. In our petition, I just wrote this simple statement. I said, please see the declaration letter of how we met attached to this filing, or something very similar to that. You can just put that little thing there in question 54 where they give you those 4 or 5 lines, and then write your own Word document about how you guys met. I did a Word document that was about 2 pages long. Make sure that it's one-sided, of course. And I just kind of wrote about our love story. And I just want you guys to remember that when you're writing it, it's going to be seen by an immigration officer, somebody that works for the government. Make sure to keep it just a little bit formal. I tried to include dates of where we met, when we met. I tried to include if family and friends were there, like what was going on. I wanted to kind of create a story, but at the same time still remain formal. And so I just kind of recommend that, guys, to you. I also try to include where the proposal was, how it was, just a little bit about the proposal, saying like, yeah, we're engaged. And I also try to include at the very end of the letter just kind of a summary of what our intentions were in terms of getting married, so that they could kind of see that and know like, yeah, we're planning on getting married. This is what we hope to do. And I think that was a really good thing that I put in the letter. I suggest that to you guys as well when you're writing the letter. I think that it's helpful because that's the whole purpose of doing the K-1 visa, is that at the end of this you guys are going to get married, and They want to know, like, what are your plans in terms of getting married, and just having that written down somewhere will be exponentially helpful for them. And finally, with this explanation of how you guys met, I recommend having someone else read it. Look over it, make sure it sounds okay. Maybe you spelled something wrong. Maybe you could have written it in a little bit of a better way, said things differently. And just having that extra set of eyes will be so helpful. Another thing that is so important to include with this I-129F packet is the proof of intent to marry. The biggest thing I want to tell you guys is marriage is between two people, which means two people need to be saying that they're legally able and willing to marry the other person. I can't emphasize this enough, you guys. I have seen cases where people have gotten RFEs because they only put one letter regarding intent to marry. Just make sure that both of you sign it, that you both put your names there. There's a couple of different ways you guys can do this. You can do one letter where both of you put your names, like I would put I, Rebecca, and then somewhere in it put and I, Christian, am legally able to and willing to marry this person, and then have us both sign and date it at the bottom. Or you guys can do two different letters. So I would have my own letter. I would say, I, Rebecca, am legally able and willing to marry Christian, and then sign and date it. And then Christian would do the same. I, Christian, am legally able and willing to marry Rebecca, and then sign and date it. This is just really important, and make sure you guys both do it. There's a lot of different templates online that you can use. I looked up a bunch of different ones online and eventually ended up kind of using pieces of a few and making my own, and then kind of altered it so both of us could use it, and that worked for us. So I can show you guys like kind of how we worded ours if you guys want to use that in your petition as well. Last huge thing about the I-129F form, or the packet. Make sure you include evidence of your guys' ongoing relationship. And the biggest piece of that, I think, is the photographs. And for me, this was like, I didn't know what to do. I was constantly obsessing over it and just like, how am I supposed to include photographs? Like, what should I do? Should I include everything? So my biggest suggestion for you guys, for your petition, something I learned along the way, is to make a Word document. You can do it all on your laptop, your computer. Put those electronic photos in a Word document. You can do like 2 photos a page, and then do a text box on the side. And in the text box, just include your names, like where it happened, and the date. So put the names of anyone that's in the photo, all of that good stuff. When you do the date, try to get as close to the date as you can. Like if you know the exact date, like March 17th, 2021, that's gonna be great. But if you just know like March 2021, okay, good. And I think that's really important. Another thing with the photos, you guys, is like, I think that photos with friends and family are great because, you know, they want to see that. They want to see that this is a real engagement. These are 2 real people that want to get married. This isn't fake. And if it's fake, you're probably not introducing them to your friends and your family. So if you guys have photos with friends and family, I think that's awesome. But also, like, something that we did was we would take like a selfie wherever we were traveling. Like, for instance, we were in DC and we took a selfie in front of the Capitol, and it was just very intentional that we did this. We knew that if we showed the Capitol in the background, that is photographic evidence. There's nowhere else in the world that looks like that. They can't mistake that for a place. And it's just showing like we really did go and see each other. It's not like a photo in front of a random house or a random building or a random tree. We tried to be intentional about where we took photos, and I think that's something that's important that you guys can think about as you're getting your petition ready to send. And also, when I was doing the petition, I thought, oh, I should print out all of the photos on really nice photo paper, write on the back of each photo, like the names, where, and when it happened. And I realized this is so much money and so much effort, and it isn't gonna look as good as a Word document. So it's really up to your preference, but I think that doing the Word document of the photos is gonna look so much better for your petition and save you so much time. So those are kind of my tips for you guys. I hope that it's helpful and let me know. Okay, here I just included some tips and tricks for you guys that I forgot the first time filming. And some other things you need to include with the I-129F packet is the proof of petitioner's U.S. citizenship. This can be shown with a copy of their birth certificate or a copy of the U.S. passport with the biographic page. Other things you need to think about is proof of meeting and ongoing relationship. I know I already talked a lot about photographs, but there's some other things that go with this as well, including copy of the beneficiary's passport pages with their stamps that shows proof of you guys' meeting, copies of airline tickets, bus tickets, Airbnb receipts, or hotel receipts. You can also include phone logs or WhatsApp messages if you want, and written statements from family members that verify your relationship. If you have the receipt of the ring or wedding invitations, that will be great in your case as well. And finally, I know I had the biggest question about how to pack up all the papers. Saw a lot of different things, decided to keep it basic, and I just put all of our papers together using a large binder clip, placed it in an envelope, and sent it using the address shown on USCIS website for K1 visa and sent it. Okay guys, so really that's everything. I know that this process is so much information and just a lot, and getting started feels like you're climbing a mountain. But I did this on my own. I did it without a lawyer. I knew some other people that were going through the same process, so I reached out to them for help. But in general, like, I did this on my own, and I know that you guys can do this on your own too. So I hope that this video is helpful, and please let us know in the comments. I would love to answer any of you guys' questions. I really truly mean that, because I know how it is, and I remember being in this spot. So I really appreciate you guys watching. Please like this video, subscribe. There will be videos in the future. We're going to go through how we did the I-129F form, and I really hope to hear from you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.